Yo, what's going on? My name is Lolinator400. Welcome to the next episode of Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park in Theme Park Tycoon 2. So here we got the haunted house that we finished. Well, not finished. We finished the front face part of it last time. Putting a bunch of stuff here. I'm gonna actually start working on the, I guess it's the station segment of the dark ride that goes inside of here. Here I'm just walling in the entrance because, you know, it's a little bit broken, I don't know. I just wish I felt it needed to be a little bit more closed in, I guess. So you weren't seeing everything else that was there, because the carts go down there and I mean no one's really looking at it, so I just closed it in. Thought that was kind of necessary. Today I'm actually going to be working on the actual ride segment, you'll see that. And I did some work with it where it's like, they're technically black, like wooden walls, which they absorb color the best out of all these, so and like light, so it turns into a very dark area. And it contains light very well, but it's a lot because it encompasses the whole track, and the whole track I think is like 153, no, it's like 105 seconds, and I think it's, I want to say around 400 meters long, but I could be wrong about that. So it's a lot, and it's about 4 tall, so and on mobile it's a little bit harder to do. Here I'm actually placing the dark ride. Nice soft turn that goes into a very sharp turn. Right there, sharp right turn. Kind of whip you around. So I put a little scenery thingy there next to it. It's actually going to turn and rotate and face, and there's on that side wall. And with this, since what's really cool about this is that since it's a dark ride, I utilized its ability to rotate, and I made it spin around a couple of times, like a 360. So it's not necessarily like nauseating, but it's just a little bit more fun, I guess. Something else going on in it besides, because it's gonna be like Funhouse style, I guess, because it's got a lot of repetitive. You'll see when I start building it. There's a lot of repetitive like optical illusion patterns to kind of give it that Funhouse feel, and it's a little bit mess with your eyes on purpose, designed to mess with your eyes. It's a very compact style. It just kind of whips around in a big zigzag shape, I guess. Kind of like a line. Very easy, very simple. I feel like something that you would actually see in a real park, should they have one. And here's where it wraps around to go out to look at the front and see what is happening in the front of the park in front of it. And it actually slows down and then it rotates to the side, so it faces out. You'll see that in a second as well when it goes to put it in test mode. When I go to when I go to put it in test mode. Actually, no, go back and delete that because I was like, I don't really want to put it over there. There's nowhere else to really put it, so I kind of shoved it in down here. And it goes zooming down that little hill. I made sure it would, because I did turn the track friction down and the target speed up just a little bit, because I feel like it could be a little bit faster and it makes it a little bit more intense, but not sickening, I guess. I didn't want to be like displeasurable because it's something. The last one I built, it was kind of like this, not as big. I didn't want it to be one too short. Here's just going. You see, this is sped up, but it's not super fast. And here I am actually placing those dark walls, like I said, because they absorb. They're not pitch black. They're I don't know. It's almost actually blue, frankly. It's got a little bit of a blue tinge to it. I don't know how to describe it. It's black, but it's not pitch. It's not like jet black, and it's very good at absorbing light, but not like completely absorbing it like the jet black. It does reflect some of the light, which is good for the image panels, but at the same time it contains it in its area, which is ultimately the end goal, is not to delete the light. And I didn't film all of this. You can see I jumped there and there's a lot more done because it was super repetitive. It was excruciating to do, and I'm sure it'd be even more excruciating to watch. Like, as well, it took me like an hour to do, and frankly, I don't think anyone wants to watch 30 minutes of me. Even if it was sped up by 4, it would just be 15 minutes. It's way too long. And then at 8 minutes with or at 8 times sped up with this software, it acts kind of funny, and it's not even like watchable at that point because it's so fast that it's like a slideshow almost. It's weird. You can see the compact nature of it, really. It's very small, but I have the disable collisions on so I can easily place image panels. Here, I actually made a little scenery. You can see the moon up there. It's an orb light. A little night sky image panel. Remember, this is sped up ×2. There's the spin I was talking about. It's sped up ×2, so it looks a little fast, but it's not. It's not actually that fast. Here I am just placing some colored lanterns, and again with the light, see how it's kind of contained to its area. It won't, like, it'll leave and go around to the other parts where the track is, but it won't leave the haunted house section. It won't like leak out into the other parts of the park, which is kind of nice. Unless I put like orb lights with like 48 range on them, which is intended to do that. You'll probably see that in a couple more episodes. Here I am just picking a nice fun house kind of style illusion. I don't know, it looks like something you'd see in a fun house. I intended to make this pretty creepy looking, and you don't see it here because this is not a... I did some work on it today, and I'm just recording. I think I recorded this yesterday, but I could be wrong. No, I definitely recorded this yesterday, but I'm doing the voiceover today, which is Saturday, and I did a lot of work on it today, and it looks... I think I finished it. I didn't record all of me finishing it because it was just me placing more image panels and stuff. Here I am, by the way, doing a little graveyard scene, which I think is pretty snazzy. It turned out pretty good. Just did a little don't show curb path there. A little terrain editing, which actually kind of got in my way when I was placing more stuff because it wouldn't let my camera go through, so I have to go around to a different side. Here I'm just recycling some of those image panels because they worked so well. Did another orb light moon, kind of worked out pretty well. That was the terrain piece I used. You can actually, if you have the Game Pass that disables collisions, you can actually place 2 dead trees on top of each other. It makes it look like a bigger dead tree. It makes it a little different from the next one, which is kind of, it's just another, you know, tip. And there's an empty coffin, and there's a little bit of a story, I guess, you can kind of see behind this, because empty coffin, skeleton outside of his coffin, you know, made that a nice tall dead tree. And when you do that, though, it deletes the ceiling part. I did delete the ceiling, so you see that. So what I did was I went back, and on both sides of that, because it's also on the next side, because it's only one wide, it gets rid of the black thing, so all you see is the dead grass, or the dry grass, I think it's called. So what I did is I went back and I put in ceiling pieces instead, and I just painted them the same color black as the other ones. There, I'm painting them. And there it is, kind of, I didn't show you all of it, but there it is, finished. Well, not finished, but there's the it's all covered in now. There's no, there's some image panels in it, but there's not a, you know, an entire set. Excuse me. Not an entire set in there. But there it is now, and you'll see, I'm going to do some more roof work on it. I actually shoved 2 episodes worth of recording into this, and I got rid of some of it because I didn't think I needed all of it. But here's a little nice panoramic of it with the roof, with the front roof on. I didn't do the side roof yet, but I did the whole roof in this episode, the whole covering on it, which worked out pretty nicely. And you can see it's still open. I'm gonna put it on there. And I see a lot of people struggle with making sometimes, not necessarily just haunted houses, but if they wanted to make something that manor style that looked like this, an easy way to do that is to use tall roofing pieces with the sharp corners, and they're not exactly rounded, but they're tall and steep, and they utilize a lot of those corners, so they're not necessarily flat, and then they have a flat roof trim. Generally, it's not very sloped. Generally, you'll find that they're very flat. And like the roof trimming and like the gutters and stuff, but there's no gutters in this game. I actually did write a Twitter DM, and if you want to DM Dennis Roblox, the developer of this game, to make a suggestion, he's just as accessible as anybody else, but I think he works alone for the most part, because I looked at the Attributions page, and he's the only one on there besides the emoji chat function, like the chat emoji function, and the developer, or the I guess the company that developed it, really, or like the software. But he, as far as I know, is the only person who really works on this, but I could be 100% wrong on that. If I am, just drop a comment. If I'm right, also just drop a comment vindicating me, please. Here I am, these are flat roof pieces, and you'll see if you looked at the other towers, they kind of, and here's the thing with this game, if you wanted to use the facade pieces, you have to use these because it'll only work with these. But at the same time, you kind of see them over it, and it's another layer of detail. And these are again extremely detailed buildings. I was thinking of the last one I made that looked like this, very closely like this. It was more decrepit, I guess is the word. It had a lot of pieces. I put a lot of those brick ruins pieces in there, and what I did is I put a bright green primitive on the other side of it, so it looked like the house was glowing. Actually worked out pretty well, but I didn't want to go for that. I wanted to go for cleaner, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't do it in this one. Here I'm putting the flat roof pieces on, because this part's flat, and then you'll see in the next episode as I go into more detail with it, which I should start editing tonight, I believe. Because the next episode is gonna focus. I I actually, well, I shoved 2 recordings that were supposed to be 2 episodes into one, only because I didn't want to focus on this entirely and kind of bore people. I feel like it would have at some point. So really, and if you do see any more of this in the future, it's going to be for like a few minutes. It's not going to be the majority of the video like this is. And the next one is a little bit, I would say it's about 50-50. The next one is, you'll see some more stuff. It's basically finishing this up and starting something new in the park. But I ended up naming this Dark Ride Morbid Manor. If you can come up with a better name, just drop a comment and I'll read the comments. If you got any feedback, also just leave a comment. I will read comments. I do take suggestions. I'm always open for feedback. You really should be. Always be open for criticism. Don't look at it as someone insulting you. Just look at it as someone who, I feel like there's destructive criticism is someone who gives criticism out of spite because they don't like you, and you should really never listen to people like that. Really, it's just a bad way to live. I tend to ignore those people who kind of just crap all over my work, regardless of what it is and where it is. And, you know, like, it doesn't even have to be this game. It could be literally anything, and they just take a massive crap on it. I ignore those people. I don't listen to what they have to say. They're not important to me. So, but always be open to criticism. It's like criticism. I feel like constructive criticism is when they like something about it, but they feel that this could be better to make it an overall. It's just someone giving their opinion, and you should take it because it might actually help. If it doesn't, well, that's the worst case scenario, is that it doesn't make it better. You just fix it. But always be open to criticism. Don't look at criticism as someone insulting your ride. Look at it as or your creation in general. And just look at it as someone who took the time out of their day because they cared enough to make a suggestion to you that they thought would better what you did. And I finished the roof, and here I'm doing some more pillars. I actually sped this up a lot more because it was taking an excruciatingly long time to do. I didn't even film the whole thing. I went to this side and I filmed this whole side, and then I cut to the next one because I was like, you don't need to see 2 times of it. I mean, you already saw all of it. But here I'm placing some more pillars. Again, just more detail you can add to it. And I'm sorry about the last video. I went back and saw that for whatever reason OBS was being like a real butt and wasn't cooperating, and decided to record certain sections at such a low frame rate that it was like a slideshow. It was horrible. I really do apologize. That must have been terrifying. I actually did film the other side. I guess I thought I didn't. Well, my bad. There you go. Oh, it's because I sped this up like ×4. And here I'm putting more facade pieces on and stuff. And again, facades really do just, they give it that extra what it needs, especially for this type of building. You can use it in really a lot of different settings as well. It's just that intricate, nice detail. Here, I've taken a little quick look at it, and here I'm doing some more scenery. Putting in some more windows. Putting some windows above those doorways, you know. It's a nice color. It's actually, and I didn't put a lot of purpley stuff in there. I think purple was the base for the walls and things like that, and then it was good for some of the accent stuff, you know. Like it's more the base, and then the green and the orange are the accents. Like it's the railing, and then, you know, the roof is obviously black because it's just that nice contrast to everything else being bright. The roof is not, and it just looks good. And I don't think a purple roof would look too good. This is the base. You want the roof. You see a red brick home. You don't normally see a red brick home with a bright red shingled roof. I think that would be kind of tacky. Here I am actually switching this up. I went through a couple little options here, you'll see them, and I ended up going with the lowest style wooden wall because it looked like a, you know, just one more piece of detail to add. And this isn't actually, this is the second lowest. I went from this one to the middle, I guess, height, and then I went all the way to the lowest. That one's, I guess they're both equally, I don't really know. Here's that middle one. I didn't quite like it. It looked a little bit too tall for me. I was like, it doesn't look so good. I actually put the whole row in and then went back and changed all of them to orange because I thought maybe it's not the problem that it's green, maybe it's just that it's orange. But no, they're just a little bit too tall. And then I went back and I put the orange version of this of the lowest wall. Kind of worked pretty good. And I feel like this ride's really coming together, and you're gonna see that in the next episode too, where it all comes together. And I didn't film the second part where I put more image panels in because it was just like you don't really need to see that. And then I rode the ride, so you saw everything that was in there. And that's in the next episode. You'll see that obviously. Alright, well, thank you for watching, making it to the end. I'm gonna leave you with the music and stuff. Please sub and like if you really did. Leave a comment. Make sure to join the Discords and stuff and the links. Check them out, depending on who I put in the links today. Have a nice day.